Good morning, everyone. So, I think this was our chapter. So, all this already we discussed in our previous sessions. We enjoyed a lot of eatables in the form of mixture, chocolate, milk, okay, colloidal, types of colloidal, and for the colloidal, we use the word what dispersion medium and dispersed phase, all that we learned. Okay, and I think this was the last point we discussed, separation of a soluble solid from a mixture with an insoluble solid by the method when the solid is insoluble. Okay, a soluble solid from mixture with an insoluble solid. Mm. Okay, so first we'll go for the filtration, then we'll go for the evaporation. Sometimes we have to adopt only one method, or if one method is not sufficient enough, then we will go for the more than one method, so that ultimately our aim is to separate the components of a mixture. Okay, so once the components are ready, then we deal with their properties, then we go for its use. So that is the what we do in chemical analysis. Okay, so they are available in the impure form. If it is available in the pure form, no problem, but most of the things in nature are not pure. Okay, so maximum are in mixture form and the impure form. So human beings are trying every day, every week, every year, so to get something from the nature. Okay, why? What for? For his own comfort. Okay, so for his own comfortable, so he's doing all these activities. So some are okay, some are not okay, but life is going on. Okay, so now today we'll start this one, separating the components of a mixture. That means the same topic continues because we have to discuss a variety of methods. So once again I am reminding as a recap that selection of a method to separate the components of a mixture depends upon the properties or the nature of a mixture and the components present in that mixture. Simply let us not select blindly or simply randomly. We will not select the method. We select a proper suitable method so that our separation technique becomes 100% successful. Okay. Now here today I have taken an example of what, how can we obtain colored component. For example, dye. Dye is one colored compound. Dye is uh, uh, what organic chemistry word. Dye refers to the color. We apply hair dye, black color. Okay, we apply some different colors. So we go for different color for the makeup. Okay, and we go for different colors for the clothes. Okay, so clothes are given some different colors and some different patterns nowadays by using the latest technology computer. So we go for a variety of patterns on the cloth. Then we accordingly go for the giving colors. So there is one famous company in the cloth industry, fabric industry, textile industry, that is Bombay Dyeing. So dyeing means to give color. So very famous company is there till today. It is popular in the market. So Bombay Dyeing cloths are very beautiful in terms of quality wise, in terms of color wise, in terms of pattern wise. So dye means what? It is a color component. So one best example every day we see is what? Ink. So fountain pen ink. So or ball pen ink. So that ink is a dye. So that ink is made to dissolve in a suitable solvent, and that is made as ink. Okay, a colored component made to dissolve in a particular solvent. So that is will act as a ink, so that it flows easily. Now, how to separate the ink component, that color component, color dye. So, and remember here again, property matters. I told you, selection of a method depends upon what property here. Here, the colored component, that is dye, which has dissolved in a particular solvent, that solvent is highly volatile. What is volatile? The one which goes to the vapor state quickly. So for this you can do in your house 1 spoon water and 1 spoon petrol if you keep. So I think within half an hour petrol evaporates. But for to evaporate 1 spoon water, it takes little time because water is not so volatile. It is volatile. Here we are comparing. All are intelligent. When you compare, one is 92, one is 93. That's all. But it doesn't mean that they are dull. All are equivalent length. Because he is 93, he got rank in the merit list. Okay, that's the idea. So here also all solvents, all liquids are volatile. But when we compare, that time petrol is the more volatile than the water. Therefore, because it is more volatile, more water, it goes to the vapor state. It is called as the more volatile. It evaporates fast. That's why near the petrol bunk where we are going to fill the petrol for our vehicles. So there is one word that kindly don't smoke because petrol is highly volatile. The moment a small spark comes in contact with that petrol, it will completely blast. Okay, therefore, petrol is highly volatile. So, nearby petrol, we should not go for any kind of a smoking or spark, anything, nothing. Okay, so they will take care, but still, from our side, as a civic society, as a civic sense, civil people, so it is our prime duty to take care. Some certain things are there in the society. Okay, so that's why when the color component is dissolved in the volatile liquid, so that is kept for evaporation. But see here, it is kept evaporation in a different way. Okay, directly it is not kept. We have taken the ink sample on the dish or the watch glass. Okay, so that watch glass is kept not directly over the stand where flame is there. First stand is, we have taken the stand, then on that you have kept the beaker. In the beaker water is there. On the beaker you have kept the watch glass. Okay, please see the figure here. Okay, when you see the figure, you will understand. Hmm? So on the watch glass we have taken the ink. Why? Because here we don't heat the ink directly. Why? Because ink contains a solvent which is highly volatile. It may catch fire. How petrol catches fire. No? In the same way, there are some solvents in the chemistry like benzene, ether, acetone, many are there. So they are highly volatile. So they catch fire. So accident may happen or some injuries may happen. So to avoid all those, in chemistry, we have to take precautions more. So once you know the procedure with the precaution, then we will carry out the experiment or any activity. So here also you have taken a precaution that ink is not heated directly. It is kept on the beaker. In the beaker, water is there. So we heat the water. When we heat the water, that water becomes evaporates. Okay, that steam which is at 90 to 100 degrees centigrade, that steam heats the watch glass. So because of the heat, with small amount of heat, it goes what the solvent present in the ink evaporates. So that colored dye, colored component, colored solid will remain in the watch glass. In this way, we can separate the colored component from the ink by the method evaporation by indirect way, not the direct way. Because again, I will repeat, property matters. It is a property matters. Okay, right. Now, please see this one. How can we separate cream from milk? Cream from milk. Every day, I think you might have seen in the kitchen, mother makes butter, mother makes cream out of milk, out of buttermilk, all those. Okay. So, very good old traditional methods are available in the village where our ancestors used to separate beautifully butter or the cream from buttermilk or the milk. So by a famous method, they will tie some rope, then they'll go for the central rotation. So because of that, cream floats on the surface. We take out, we skim off the cream and we use it for other purposes. So here also, how to separate cream from the milk in the industry, where we are done in the home at our level, at the domestic level. But when you go to the industry, we have to separate on the large scale. Okay, so milk dairies are there, no? Milk dairy. So in the milk dairies, what they do before selling into the market in the form of packets. So what they do, they take out the fat content, okay, from the milk, because some people they don't like fat. They think that by taking a thick milk they become fat. It's correct also. Unless we work out, so you take fat content, but you have to work out. You have to burn the calories. Simply eating and sleeping, sitting in the house is of no use. So that fat develops in the body. So that's the problem. That's why some people they don't want fat. They want fat-free milk. For that, some packets are sold without fat, and some are sold with fat. So they will write on the packet. You have to read the packet before purchasing the milk packets. Okay. So how they separate? By the method of centrifugation, or one more word is churning. Normally we use. So centrifugation is a kind where we rotate at the center. This method is applicable for what? For applicable when the uh, out of the two, one of the components is suspended in the mixture. Okay, not completely soluble. It is suspended. It is floating in the liquid, in the mixture. So that time, if you rotate in a circular way, so how we do the in the village. So everything, whatever is floating, that we are making to due to gravity, it will come down due to the movement. So everything settles at the bottom. If it is heavy and if it is light, it floats on the surface, depend upon the nature of the that suspended particle. So accordingly, we go for filtration if it settles at the bottom. Otherwise, if it floats, we skim off using the spoons, big spoons in the industry, and in that way we separate the cream. So once we separate the cream, whatever milk is there, it is fat-free milk, good for health for some people, those who don't like. So that is what that is centrifugation. And in the pathology department, where there is a separate branch in the medicine. So after MBBS, there is a special course known as MD. Okay, Doctor of Medicine. So MD, so that MD, there is a separate branch pathology. So they carry out some laboratory works, analysis of the blood, urea, skin, all that. So nowadays we carry out the RT-PCR test, no. So blood sample, diabetic hemoglobin, all those comes under the pathology and the pathology related departments of the medicine. So there they carry out this method for especially for the blood. Okay, after collecting the blood, they have to check, so how many platelets are there, RBC count, WBC count, everything is told to you when you take a MD as a the pathology department. Okay, right. Okay. So centrifugation, the technique they use not only in the house, not only in the industry, even in the medicines also. Okay. So a very useful method when solute particle is suspended in the solvent. That time this is the best method. So on a small scale, we carry out in our laboratory and in the house, whereas on a large scale, we carry out in the dairies or the industries. For that special bigger what apparatus are required, instruments are there. So you can see these instruments. So big instruments are available in the dairies. So whenever chance comes for you to visit dairies with permission, so you please enter the dairy. So ask some questions how they do. Otherwise, at least you go through. At least you see how they do. If you get a chance. Okay. Now, Corona restrictions are there, so they will not allow. When the situation becomes normal, that time if you get a chance to visit the milk dairy, please visit. It is a knowledge. Okay. So simply we learn here in the textbook, but when you go to the industry, so exactly we see what we have studied in the what class. So all these machines they use in dairies. Okay. So the left one is in the laboratory. Okay. The middle one is in the pathology, and the third one from the left side is in the dairies, and fourth one on a large scale in the industry. So depend upon our requirement. So we use variety of devices or the apparatus, instruments for separation of suspended solid particles from the solvent. Okay. Now you see this one. This is a special kind of apparatus. This is called what? Separating funnel. Normal funnel we have seen in our life to measure oil, to measure liquids. Okay. So we have seen normal funnel. Even in the laboratory also, we have seen normal glass funnels. Okay, plastic funnels or the glass funnels. But this is something different. Okay. Main idea is separation only. Idea behind the making funnels are funnels is what? It is separation technique only. But here, a small arrangements we have made. Why? It is a requirement. So all the chemical apparatus, chemistry apparatus are made depending upon the need. Okay, for this activity, I need this type of apparatus. So normal funnel may not be useful. So they will go for modification in the industry. So glass is a one which you can give any shape. You have seen, no, in the old buildings, there are some glass decoratives are there. So you can make any shape to the glass. Okay. So with a temperature, with a pressure, with a annealing method, you learn in the higher class. There is a separate chapter in chemistry. Glass industry is there. It's very popular, glass industry, ceramic industry. So they're all decoratives. So using those techniques, we give different shapes to the glass. So that's why we have taken a separate special funnel, which is not a separating funnel. And this funnel is best for separating a particular kind of mixture. What kind of mixture? This separating funnel we use to separate two liquids which are immiscible. Means they don't mix well. Water and ink they mix well. For this it is not useful. Milk, water they mix well. Okay. Petrol, kerosene they mix well. So for such kind of liquids where they mix well, so they are soluble, they are mixing, this method is of no use. Only for those where we find immiscibility, they don't mix well. Best example of day-to-day life is what? Kerosene and water. Okay, so if you are having kerosene, I think nowadays we have a LPG stove in the house. Kerosene is rarely available by chance. So kerosene water, but whenever you are handling kerosene, be careful. Okay, so you should be away from the fire. So that all restrictions are there with the kerosene and the petrol. So therefore, kerosene and the water they
Sir,
don't mix well. You will find separate layer because it depends upon what? Lightness,
sir,
density. Yeah,
sir, sir, baking soda and vinegar, if we mix, sir, then chemical reaction will happen, na, sir. It will be
correct.
compound or mixture, sir.
It is a compound only because CO2 is coming out. CO2 is
Yes, sir.
coming out.
Then we can separate it again, sir.
What to separate there?
Sir,
What?
again we can separate baking soda and vinegar.
Separating or making once again. You are
Sir,
putting
we
you
will
are
add
putting
baking soda in vinegar, na, sir.
okay.
After that chemical reaction, again can we separate them back, sir?
There are two changes. One is physical change, other one is chemical change. Okay, physical change is temporary, chemical change is permanent. Physical change can be reversible, chemical change cannot be reversible, it is irreversible. One change happens, it is a permanent. Therefore, you will not get back the baking powder or the vinegar. It is a permanent change. Something new is formed.
Sir, we will get new chemical, na, sir.
That's why. But you are asking, can we get the baking? No. It is a chemical
Okay,
change,
sir.
permanent change. Okay. All right. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So now let us come
Understood.
to the point separating funnel, where we use to separate the two immiscible liquids. I have given example kerosene and the water. So when these two are mixed, you can see clearly two distinct layers depending upon their densities. The one which is heavy will come down, and the one which is light will float on the surface, and you can see the boundary between the upper layer and the lower layer. Clearly we can see. So here in the case of water and the kerosene, kerosene is lighter, water is heavier. Therefore, kerosene forms the upper layer and the water forms the lower layer. Okay, so that is shown in the figure here. Okay, so it's a different color. So this is what upper layer, heavy liquid. Sorry, heavy liquid, upper layer, and the light liquid density is light at the bottom. Okay, at the bottom. So this is the, if you take the kerosene and the water as an example, this becomes the kerosene and this becomes the water. Now here is the stopcock. Okay, so this is the lid. I can say lid. The stopcock is here. So both are used as stopcock only. But if you want to differentiate the word, then you can take it as a lid to close it. So first you open it. After opening, you take the mixture of kerosene and water, then close it. This also you have to close because if you don't close, everything will come down. Before close this stopcock. So after closing, then shake well. Thoroughly you shake. So when you shake well, then wait for about half an hour. Let them take a little time because we have to wait. Always in practicals, we should have patience. Okay, in a hurry we can't do. So with a lot of patience, with a lot of precautions, we have to carry out. So after waiting for about half an hour, so you can see clearly two layers: heavy upper layer, light lower layer, kerosene lower layer, water upper layer. Okay, now you what to do? Slowly you open the cork. But in the meantime, you keep one beaker at the bottom to collect the sample. Okay. So when you open this one, so this light kerosene drains off. It moves down. Okay. So it comes and falls in the beaker. Now you have to be very careful. Here is the separating layer between heavy and the light liquid. So you have to concentrate on this layer, the layer which separates both. When that layer comes and it touches this point, stop. Okay, stop the cock. Why? If you keep, everything will come down, no use. Okay, so whatever you have done in the beginning, everything will come to no use. So you have to keep an eye on this borderline. When this borderline comes here, suddenly close. What happens? The lower light liquid flows down and collects at the bottom, and the upper heavy liquid will be in the separating funnel only. Okay, so in this way, we can separate the two immiscible liquids by using the separating funnel, and the technique or the method is known as a decantation. Okay, so what is decantation actually? Decantation is whenever insoluble solid in a liquid is taken, so that time if you add for example chalk piece in water, so you shake well and keep it aside, it what, it becomes chalk piece becomes at the bottom, it water collects at the bottom, settles to the bottom. Okay, that is called sediment, insoluble solid sediment at the bottom. Upper clear water you can see, that is called decant. Okay, so what we do, before we, without going to the filtration, what we do, sometimes we slowly, without disturbing the water, the container slowly will go and transfer to other container till all liquid transfers, and at the bottom whatever collected sediment will be there only. This we will doing from the past in the villages. So now we have the tap water, borewell, all those. Earlier we used to depend upon the river water. So we used to go to the river, collect the water in a pot and bring it and pour to the tank or a container, different container. Okay. So in the month of winter and in the month of summer, we don't face normally any problem. But in the rainy season, starting from June month, first June month is there, no? That is the monsoon entry. That time when rain comes, so fresh rain comes, fresh water adds up to the river. So while flowing, that water brings some mud, soil. Okay, so that's why river water is muddy during the monsoon, especially in the month of June, fresh rain. So when we collect that water in the pot, so we don't use directly. So one day we will keep in the tank. One day we will keep in the tank. So after one day, all the mud particles which are there in the river water settles to the bottom. Okay, that is called sedimentation. It sediments at the bottom. Okay. So then upper clear water, we take one more container, and that we keep on clean, washed cotton cloth. Okay, and the other container, steel tank. Then we slowly we lift the pot, so without disturbing the bottom mud, so we transfer onto the cloth. So it filters further by chance any other leaf or something is there. So that water is taken for drinking purpose, and that is known water, that is called potable water. Water which is fit to drink is called as potable. But nowadays it is not advisable to use river water, because river water earlier we were having no industries that much. Now many industries are there on the bank of river. So though they take care, but still some waste from the industry is adding to the river. Okay, plus we wash animals in the river. That, see, we have to understand the problem. And simply what we do, we swim. And if you go for normal swimmer, not a problem. We apply soap and then jump into the river, go for swimming. So river water is now you are adding washing soda also, soap powder, and buffaloes, cows we wash. That also is added. Everything. See, now river is highly polluted, contaminated. Okay, so and population is increasing like anything. So many animals are washed, many people will take swim bath. So everything is added to the river only. So earlier, some around 100 to 200 years back, the condition was different. Now the conditions are different. Okay, so now kindly don't take river water directly. It is to be processed. Okay, so that is done by the separate department is there. That is called as the water board by the government. So that water board will do, it will do physical method, it will do the chemical method. Okay, so after doing the physical chemical method, they will check a small sample. whether this water is fit for drinking or not. So there are some laboratories in the DC office. So they will give a certificate that this water is fit for drinking. Then only municipal corporation or water board will allow water in the pipelines and it will reach the different houses. So that is we use nowadays. Okay, earlier that's why I'm saying a river example to understand what is meant by decantation. Okay, so in the separation of the two immiscible liquids,
Sir, some members are waiting in lobby.
why they are waiting in the lobby? Already Vinayak is going to charge, no?
Yes, sir. I admitted, sir.
Why? Who is said like this? Don't disturb in between. Lobby. Okay. So understand what I'm explaining. Already I have made a co-host so that I am without any disturbance. I'll explain. Okay. So we say I stopped somewhere where it was separating funnel. So just to give an example, I have taken the river example. But for your kind information, directly don't consume river water. So highly contaminated. So after the process only, we are allowed to use water for drinking purpose. Okay. So this method is called as what? Decantation, especially for the two immiscible liquids, and the apparatus is called as separating funnel. And best example day to day is what? Water and the kerosene. So all this you have to remember. This is the most important activity or the separating technique. Okay. So we use for this. So my Webex is saying time is already over. So last 5 minutes is there. So you can ask any doubts for the next period to starts. Okay.
Sir, which
What
is
happens
heavier, sir,
when we
water
cut
or
litmus
kerosene,
paper,
sir?
sir?
One by one. Yeah, please.
Sir,
Sir, which
how?
is
What happens when we cut litmus, sir?
What? Weapons,
Sir,
sir?
when we cut litmus, sir, any form is formed, sir, because it can be cutted, na, sir.
Any? I am not clear. Please tell once again.
Sir, he is asking what will happen if we cut lithium.
Lithium.
Yes, sir.
Lithium. What is lithium?
Lithium,
Sir,
no,
I
sir.
think
Litmus.
Litmus.
Yes, sir.
So after cutting the litmus, what you said?
What will happen, sir?
What will happen? How will happen? Litmus will become two pieces when you cut. What else?
Sir, can you show previous slide, sir?
Previous slide.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
sir, that black one, sir.
Black one, sir.
Correct. It is actual notes. So
I
Sir,
want to
we will take screenshot, sir.
is it?
Yes,
Okay.
Again, presentation gone, sir.
Why that only? Why it is? Who is this? Why it is moving? I don't know. On its own it is going. On its own it is going.
Sir, which is heavier, sir?
This one.
Kerosene or water, sir?
Yes, sir.
You tell. Kerosene is light.
Water, sir. Water, sir.
Kerosene is light. Water is heavy.
Light, heavy. Sir, between
Sir,
kerosene and
presentation
petrol,
still not
sir, which
done,
is
sir.
heavy?
Kerosene and
Petrol. Which is heavy?
petrol, Baba. Petrol is so light. Petrol is so light.
Sir, decantation and sedimentation are same.
Decantation is process of separating the upper clear liquid.
Sir, your presentation is not coming, sir. This dot is presenting, sir.
That only. I don't know why it is going. Nearly 10 times I did.
I know, yeah, somebody is showing.
I took screenshot, sir. I'll
Sir,
share it
someone
in
is
the-
taking that presentation option.
How? Why? How
Hey,
the technique?
Vinayak, you kick out this both.
Hey, hello, Vinayak. What is the technique? Please.
No, sir. I think sometimes due to bugs, automatically the another person becomes presenter, sir. Sometimes it may happen, sir.
Kindly you tell your friends not to become like that till our class becomes okay, complete. Okay.
Yes,
Now
sir. Now
came,
it is
sir.
coming, sir. Very good, sir.
Okay. So
Yes,
it's a
sir, it came,
combination.
sir.
Good. Very good. Good.
Sir,
Sir,
what
when
is
will you start
difference
starting, sir?
between cold air and hot air?
Cold air.
And hot air, sir, means which type of components are present in them?
It is air
Cold
only.
air is heavy,
It is air
light
only.
air,
Cold air
hot air
contains
is
some water vapor. some other components. So in the hot air, that is not there. So it becomes light. So hot air is lighter than the cold air. Hot air contains only N2 and the O2. Small amount of CO2, that's all. Otherwise, cold air contains suspended particles, water vapor, some other contamination. So the more it is
Bye,
contaminated,
sir.
bye. Okay, bye. Okay. So then, thank you and all.
Sir, cold air.
Thank you, sir.
Have a
Thank you,
nice
sir.
day,
Oh, have a
sir.
nice time.
Have
Bye
a
bye.
nice day, sir.
Have a
When
nice day,
schools are
sir.
starting,
Nice,
sir.
nice, very fantastic.
Have a nice day, sir.
Thanks to Vinayak.
Bye, sir.
Bye, sir.
Bye.
Have a very good nice day, sir.
Okay, right.
Cold air will be downside, hot air will be upside.
Very nice. Good. Thank you.
Sir, when schools are starting, sir?
Huh?
When schools are
Thank you,
starting,
sir.
sir?
In
You will
mind.
get intimation. Don't worry. Don't worry. Hmm?
Went
Okay,
went
thank
in
you.
mind,
Bye.
sir.
Bye.